Welcome to the Smart Driving Cars podcast. Thank you for tuning in once again. This edition is made possible by CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to safe and high-quality mobility for all. I'm Fred Fishkin, along with the Faculty Chair of Autonomous Vehicle Engineering at Princeton University, Alan Kornhauser. Hi, Alan.
Hey, good morning, Fred.
Good morning, and we have something to celebrate. This is episode 300. And you're not sick of me yet?
Unbelievable. Really? I mean, whatever.
That's a lot, and we appreciate all of our viewers and listeners who have stuck with us over the years. So,
yes, we do appreciate you.
And we have more from CES to feature in this episode with help from our friend Ken Pyle at Vioti. But first, we're going to turn to the latest Smart Driving Cars newsletter. Alan, you are just back from an amazing trip to Kenya. And on top in the newsletter is the Matatu local bus system in Nairobi. Tell us about this.
Oh, my goodness. It was my first trip to Africa, although I guess I've been to Egypt, but basically Eastern Africa, and I just had a wonderful trip to Nairobi and the Impala research facility that Princeton is part of, about 100 miles or so north of Nairobi, and had such a wonderful time collecting assisting in some research that's going on there, going and collecting droppings from giraffes and water, and trying to correlate various diseases with the water, and then remotely observing zebras, and basically taking data as to what their behavior is. Zebras, I learned, all have unique stripes, and the belief is that they have unique behaviors, and that in fact their trajectories or behavioral trajectories that are unique to each of the individuals. So there's some research going on there to bring that together. Plus, in Nairobi, I checked out the transportation system. Lots of cars, lots of congestion, lots of people walking. Amazing numbers of people walking what looked like not necessarily short distances. And the minibus systems that operate in the private sector, each of them are sort of independently owned and operated, that provide an enormous amount of mobility to individuals, and just had such a wonderful time. Visited half a dozen different universities, and it was great.
And that system is app-based, I understand, at least for people who have smartphones?
There is an app that does show you, where they go, but I guess people do know the routes, and my goodness, those minibuses are absolutely chock full, and I didn't ride one. I guess I should have, but I didn't go that far. But next time, I'll be sure to actually physically ride one. I do link a video of a reporter riding one and talking about it, and talking to the operators, and looking at this basically a private transportation system that's embedded in the fabric, that provides a great deal of mobility to a lot of folks at I guess it used to be 30 shillings. It's now 50 shillings because of inflation, but 50 shillings is like 50 cents a ride, and affordable mobility that it's provided there for folks to be able to improve their quality of life, which is the only reason we travel. And we travel because our place-time utility is enhanced if we go to the place that we go. Otherwise, we wouldn't go.
That video you linked to, I think, is from Jason Billum Travel, I believe.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, you talk about the possibility that, a system like this, if what's planned for Trenton doesn't work out, something like this could be some kind of alternative, perhaps.
Perhaps, but I think the probably not. Trenton, Nairobi is I don't know, 3 million people. Trenton is 90,000. Mercer County is 250,000. So I mean, there's a different scale here. That was a little tongue in cheek.
if we don't get things the way we want them in Trenton, right? So okay, the CEO of Mobileye is saying the company will deploy between 100 and 150 robot taxis this year in Israel and in some European cities as well. And this is, I guess, a trial of sorts that they're planning.
Right, and I'm assuming, I tried to read it a couple of times as to exactly what he said. Is it a total of 100 to 150 of these driverless vehicles, or is it 100 to 150 per deployment? I hope it's 100 to 150 per deployment. Because as sort of that's the kind of system that we sort of look at Trenton for. Here this is, as we say, 90,000 population, something like about 300. You're going to have to cut it off. It's a population of about 90,000 and about 300,000 person trips a day, give or take. That one is the total addressable market. And if you take that total addressable market and if you have an efficient system, and given the car ownership and so on that we have in Trenton, we're looking at basically a capture of 10 to 15% of those vehicle trips, of those person trips. And to serve 10 to 15% of those person trips, you need a fleet of something like 100 vehicles. That ends up giving you a ridership on the system that approaches 100 person trips per day. At 100 person trips per day, that is a substantial number of trips on which to distribute the capital costs of the system and the operating costs and the fuel costs, and allows one to really have a very affordable system out there. Affordable, something that looks like less than 50 cents per passenger mile type of thing operation. And in that sort of structure, then one can think about really having a fare structure that actually is commensurate with a ridership that is then providing a income stream that allows such a system to at least break even, if not make a few dollars, or more than a few dollars. And that's as a start. As it expands, then of course the opportunity to then take the fixed costs and spread it out over even a larger area, larger market, larger trips, more vehicles, and so on, then allows such systems to have an opportunity to have economies of scale that allow them to run profitably. And as we saw in Nairobi, the only reason the minibus systems work is because they are operating in the private sector and are money makers for each of the operators, and so that's why it exists. It's not that it's then subsidized and whatever and put out there. It's because it basically operates on its own bottom. I think the whole objective of this technology is not that it be subsidized by the public to operate, but that in fact, given the technology and the opportunities for scale economies here, that that one gets the scale, that these are, in fact, viable businesses out there that then can provide the mobility and provide a return to the operator such that they can go on and operate ad infinitum.
It seems as if Mobileye is one of really just a handful of companies, at least right now, that could really make this happen, right?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they have to be careful of their operational design domain, just like we've been very careful with the operational design domain of Trenton, and not try to do it to be able to go everywhere. Okay, so when one looks at the personal travel patterns of a particular community, find a part of that market that you can actually do safely, technologically, now or soon, as opposed to saying, hey, yeah, I'm going to try to do everything. Not everybody's going to show up at the beginning. In fact, you're probably begging to have some people show up. But target it and have the marketing and the promotional support to a market and make that work, and then expand it. And who knows, 50 years from now, maybe they will serve everywhere. But come on, if we expect that to happen in the beginning, come on, I'm going back to Nairobi and go back and go watch some lions, giraffes, and zebras.
Got to take me with you if you do that. So our friend Brad Templeton, related to this, has a piece in Forbes headlined, "This Autonomap shows the many places autonomous vehicles are serving the public today." That's the headline.
That's in the headline.
And in the article, it says something else.
It turns out that, it should be the few places. There are really only 3 in the U.S. The rest is smoke and mirrors.
But the article also
smoke and mirrors, hopes and prayers.
The article also says, though, that mostly autonomous vehicles, and you point that out. And
mostly autonomous. What the heck's that? That's until you get to autonomous, you don't get the benefit, the fundamental benefit of being able to remove the labor costs. If you can't remove the labor costs, there's nothing here. And safety's not going to pay for it. Cut it out. Because there's not that much improvement in safety. And if you really want to do safety, then you know how to do it. You know how to put technology in a vehicle such that it can't speed, such that it can't go out of the lane, and it won't let you drive it if you've had too much to drink. That's how you deal with safety. Cut it out.
Sure.
I'm ornery, I guess, now. Sorry.
Been hanging around those lions, too.
Been hanging around. It was so neat to sit there and watch 2 lions playing on, rolling on their backs. Cut it out. I think Disney structured the whole thing. I don't think they were real. They couldn't have been. Never mind.
Jalopnik reports, Alan, that Tesla can slash its prices because its cars are so cheap to build. That's one piece. And we touch on another one here. Electric reports Tesla is seeing unprecedented demand following those price cuts.
I don't know. I'm glad somebody wrote it. Okay, everybody else says, of course, they're doing it because, because the market is soft. Yes, you got to price along the demand curve. Sure, if the price is too high, fewer people will want it. If you can reduce the price, more people will want it. That's fundamental supply and demand. And guess what? I think that, it just depends what the slopes of the curves are. As they reduce the price, the demand goes up even more to make up for it. So all the derivatives are in the right direction. and it's, I guess, what everybody who's a market leader ends up doing. What do, man? They sit there and make sure that they outprice the competition because they have the opportunity of scale. The competition, who basically produces few, hasn't gotten the opportunity to do scale yet. And then you look at the investment that Tesla's made in the gigafactories. Oh my goodness. They probably, if they get those things to run 3 shifts, they're going to be, the supply is going to be so great. And if they can drop the price even more, and the demand, that's how you beat the competition.
Not only that, we've got the government that, as of this year, has stepped in now with the $7,500 incentive if a vehicle costs under $55,000, and lo and behold, a Model Y long range is now just under $55,000.
Yeah, well, of course, everybody does the pricing and plays those games, and the government's in there, but I don't know whether or not the government should be in there promoting electric vehicles is a whole other question, and you probably know which side I'm on that one. That's like silly, but whatever.
But as far as boosting demand, I mean, cutting the price was one thing, and then the government, once you're under that cap, gives you another $7,500. There's going to be a lot of buyers out there saying this is the time.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do that, to figure out what the heck to do with it, especially when you're sitting there and you're the market leader, and you've built the infrastructure to take advantage of scale, and you haven't even used all that infrastructure that you've built to take all the advantage of scale. And then there are a bunch of other stories out there about how they're out there even expanding the infrastructure that they have. And so I don't know. I guess it seems to me that somebody coming in there and trying to flood this market. Now, I'm sure China can do it if the Chinese government just, pays for it all and produces it all and decides to flood the market. Okay, they can. I mean, it's a country, but that's a country against a private entity. I guess countries win when that happens. I don't know. So that's maybe a danger, but whatever.
There's been some controversy, Alan, surrounding a 2016 video that Tesla used to promote its self-driving technology, citing some testimony in a deposition that's led some to say that this video was staged. You have some interesting comments in the newsletter.
Well, yeah, every video is staged. What, somebody isn't out there randomly taking pictures and just throwing that up there on, hey, take a look at this. What promotional video isn't staged, isn't organized? And geez, I don't know how many promotional videos tell you, oh my goodness, we had this ad ended up on the cutting room floor. I mean, the amount of footage that is taken to produce any promotional video compared to what is contained in that promotional video must probably is 100 to 1. Okay, they didn't mention that somehow the car had a little fender bender when it parked itself. Okay, whatever. It's buyer beware. My goodness, every car commercial I watch on TV looks nothing like what happens when I drive anywhere. It's all on roads. There's nobody there. I mean, it's like whatever. And then you go through river beds and up great walls, and everything is just hunky dory. And I don't lose my my oil pan and blow out and whatnot. Come on, I mean, is everybody so naive? Oh, my goodness. I mean, look at the advertising for gambling. I mean, you really guaranteed to win every time I play? Oh, just the first time. I didn't hear about first time. I don't know. Whatever.
It is interesting, and of course, if people were talking about the ad, the whole use of the phrase "full self-driving" is, we've talked about that over and over again.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and it is really unfortunate. And darn it, if that's the problem, my goodness, pay whoever wants to get money now. Give them their money. Get out of my face. Let's move on, and let's stop calling it full self-driving and whatever. But I guess you'll get to the thing that I have at the absolute bottom. But with respect to Mercedes, I mean, what?
Well, let's talk about that. Tell us about this
I don't
piece.
know about, Mercedes is out there, saying level 3 is now, all over the country. I mean, I think New York State still, you're supposed to have a hand on the wheel. I think that's a law in New York State. I don't think they've repealed that, or maybe I missed it. It used to be a law. My goodness, I mean, as I call it, that's a real Elon Musk statement that they have out there, which is, promoting whatever. Look, we know that buyers need to beware. You need to read the fine print. You need to read the manual. You need to be able to look critically at things. And if when you look critically at it, it still is to your benefit, go for it. But anybody, there are no guarantees in this world. Come on, grow up, people.
As we said at the top, we have more to share from CES and our friend Ken Pyle at Vioti. Alan, Ken spoke with Richard Chung at Toyota Boshoku about plans for mobility that's electrified and autonomous. I think people are going to find this interview interesting.
Absolutely. It's a very good one, and has to do with, of course, mobility of everybody, especially those that have a challenge in one way or another.
The right size vehicle for the right application. Well, is that what we're looking at here? Richard, why don't you tell us what Toyota Boshoku is doing?
Okay. So my name is Richard Chung. I'm the Chief Branding Officer at Toyota Boshoku. And what we have here is two new concepts for year 2030, ride share and commercial space on wheel. Toyota Boshoku is a Toyota group company, but actually we are the genesis of the Toyota history. Everything started from Toyota Boshoku, and we were in the looming business. And from there, Toyota Motor came out as a spin-off company, and then now, of course, the rest of the history. And we are currently an interior supplier, so we supply seats and interior to Toyota and Lexus vehicles globally, but also other customers such as BMW and so forth.
Looks like you're demonstrating kind of the whole product beyond just the interior.
Yeah, so what we're showing here is the scenario of autonomous technology being commercially available and becomes a mainstream transportation mode, if you will, or technology by year 2030. Right now we're seeing tested vehicles running around in San Francisco or Phoenix or in China. They're rolled out in all the major cities. So by 2030, I think we will see level 4 type of rideshare vehicles. What we are doing is we're preparing for that. Vehicle's going to run around, but what happens to the inside? Because the consumers are more interested about the experience in the vehicle, not they're going to take for granted the car is going to drive itself. So we wanted to provide to diverse range of customers with the versatility of being able to configure different needs for the consumer experience. Our theme for this vehicle, MX221, is versatility. So it's a combined word of diversity and versatility. So when we say versatility, we want to be inclusive of all the consumers.
Yeah, I noticed the wheelchair yesterday right on your stand.
Correct. So we designed specifically our own wheelchair because today the wheelchairs are pretty much bent pipe construction, and in a vehicle crash situation, it will integrate. So what we wanted to do is not only get the person on board, but also keep them safe. by designing our seat, the wheelchair based on seat structure. And today, the automotive seats withstand up to 40 or 50 Gs of impact and still be able to protect the occupant. So based on that, we're designing the wheelchair with our seat structure, and then as a basis, and then we put the wheel on with a power motorized wheel, so that the user can easily get up to the ramp and get on board. Now, the onboarding process is...
Before we get to the onboarding, it seems like that in itself is a revolutionary development. It seems like you'd need to have some level of standardization, ideally, so you could have different manufacturers of wheelchairs, etc.
Correct. So what we are proposing is using our patented easy docking system. So the wheelchair is built in with the seat grade latching system, combined with our seats in the rear that has the strikers and structure that to withhold and contain the seat in position. So
would you see, though, opening that up to so that you could go with different vehicles, different wheelchairs?
Sure. So we want to see this being standardized in the future of all the vehicles, so that the wheelchair users can move about independently with their freedom. So we have had a couple of wheelchair users come in yesterday, and they tried it out and saw it, and they were in tears because there's such a high pain point that was answered by this solution.
So do you have a ramp that comes down as well, or?
Correct. We have a vehicle with a ramp built in. So when the wheelchair user hails the vehicle, it knows obviously, and when it stops, it will deploy the ramp. It takes about 30 seconds, and then you could go up to the ramp and then into the docking system by backing in. That takes about total 2 minutes. So today, any wheelchair onboarding experience is 15-20 minutes of somebody assisting with the anchors and tie downs and so forth. This is completely independent. You could do it on your own without anybody assisting.
Do you envision it being low cost enough that it could be put in every vehicle, or would it have to be like a 1 out of 10 type thing?
Sure. Obviously, we want to make it affordable. It would be competitive to any other motorized wheelchairs, but we want to make it more lightweight and, of course, stronger and comfortable. Our technology know-how is on the comfort because we are a seating company. We made it very comfortable for the users to use it not only for mobility but also throughout the day.
And I meant your autonomous vehicle. Would all those be equipped with ramps? Do you envision that, or do you envision 1 out of 10 or something?
So obviously there's going to be some costs associated with that, but because this is a ride-share vehicle, so you're not going to own the vehicle. So it's the company that's going to manage the fleet. Just like airplanes. So airplane, costs a lot of money, but what you pay as a user individually is affordable. So,
and what do you envision for this? We haven't gone in it yet, and I would like to go in it, but is it 4, 6 seats?
Yeah, it could be up to 6 maybe, but also 1 or 2. So today, 90% of the vehicles are occupied by only 1 or 2 persons. 90%. So it doesn't really have to be that big, but there are occasions that we need to have more than 2 people. So we have what we call tailored space system, and the entire interior module slide out to the back end of the vehicle, and then can be reconfigured with the different modules. So we have different levels of experience. So like on an airplane, you have a first class to business class to economy. Sure. Same thing. You have same vehicle, and then you have different grades of experience that you can demand. So when you hail, you could specify business class. At the service hub, it will change from economy to business class in less than 5 minutes. And then you can...
So literally like a modular...
It is. Modular swapping system.
Wow.
Not only that, the seats are also modular. So seat back, seat cushion, the armrest, and headrest. All the surfaces that come in contact with the occupants can be easily replaced. So that if it's damaged or soiled or contaminated, it can be easily changed by the service providers. So that it really enhances the overall user experience. Because always everybody is concerned about, is this clean enough for me? But it is a lot more manageable to provide clean air, not only the surface.
Okay, so there's air purification and so forth.
We have a HVAC system that purifies the air, deodorize, filter, and also kills the bacteria. We have a built-in UVC lamp system, so that within the containment of the HVAC system, it kills all the bacteria and viruses, provides the clean air to the occupants.
And I would imagine there's in-camera cabins and so forth for safety and that sort of thing.
Correct. So we have cabin monitoring camera system as well as a biometric sensor system built into the seat. So we're monitoring their heartbeat and their thermal condition of the body and then expression as well. So by having these inputs, we can figure out that if this person is having a discomfort or motion sickness or having a heart attack, so that we can provide the right type of countermeasures for their comfort.
That's incredible. And of course, it's an all-electric future with this vehicle, right?
Yeah, so of course we are assuming that this is going to be based on EV architecture. Obviously, we're going to have a flat floor. The connectivity that's going to be available in the car architecture obviously will work in sync with our system.
Excellent. Well, it looks like the future. Literally looks like the future. And I assume that you could also, as part of the modules, configure it to deliver boxes, not just bottoms.
Sure. So we also imagine this type of vehicle can be configured for delivery as well as transporting humans. Now, on the to my right, which is to your left, is MOOC's concept, and it's what we call X on wheel. So X means anything. It's going to be a vehicle that has all the sort of a commercial space, right? So instead of going to shops or restaurants or offices or karaoke, they will come to you. So we have configured this time, this is a 3.5 version, so we have done 3.5 version, is a wellness space. So what that is if you're living in a city full of stress, you can travel in our MOOCs and then actually it will measure your stress level and then do some experience that will calm your stress down and then recover and then have some fun in the vehicle.
Excellent. Well, this is a fun show and it's all about fun, but it's also about helping people have a better quality of life. So it looks like you're on that path.
Thank you very much. And that's our vision, to really serve our technology to serve the society. Yeah.
Excellent. Richard, thank you.
Thank you.
We again want to thank Ken Pyle at VOD.com. Look for VOD on YouTube. Alan, this has been a great 300th podcast.
I know. I guess I was a little ornery. People, probably very unhappy with me. But seriously, this technology, we've been at it for some time. Trying to automate roadways at least since 1939, and doing it with in-vehicle technology at least since 2005 or so. And yes, in terms of systems that really are assisting drivers and making driving more comfortable, and also actually intervening in situations, we've made enormous progress. We still have a ways to go. The integration of automated emergency braking system with intelligent cruise control and lane keeping hasn't been. Those two things haven't been integrated yet. Hopefully they'll be integrated soon. Everybody seems to be coming out with chipsets that have sufficient computing power and consume energy appropriately, such that the computations can be done and they can help us continuously as we travel. All those things are very close on the horizon. Whether or not they'll provide the mobility to everyone and not require the folks to drive, but just to ride, we still have a ways to go. We're not making all that good progress yet. It's been a struggle. The problem is very challenging, especially if one tries to do it in too many places. So one has to be very picky, choosy on that one. Private land, private property, great. On public roads, when you just have the public out there, and who knows to what extent they're intervening and really trying to make it difficult, let alone just acting normally, very challenging. And so we still have a lot of work to do.
And the plans are underway for the next Smart Driving Car Summit as well, right?
Yep, putting it together, in latter part of May, we're going to be back and we're going to do it again. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about progress and opportunities.
That's the goal. Well, our thank you to CARTS, the Corporation for Automated Road Transportation Safety, for helping to make this podcast possible. CARTS is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to safe and high-quality mobility for all. You can find us at smartdrivingcar.com, also on Anchor FM, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple, Google, Amazon, Spreaker, SoundCloud, wherever you turn to for podcasts. Smart speakers can play us too. You can find my tech reports at techstination.com. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Alan Kornhauser. Thank you for listening or watching all 300 episodes, and please continue to stay safe.
Wow. It's been a great ride, Fred.